She didn't rip open the envelope at once. Too busy basking in the spotlight, the applause, the champagne, the lies. Her new husband had his arm locked around her like she was the prize he'd finally won. Our relatives pretended to cry, dabbing their eyes with tissues that stayed dry. And me. I stood near the corner, the shadow of the family, just like always. Unnoticed, unimportant. But inside that envelope, I had written just one line. You never saw me. But now the world does. Followed by a figure. $180 million. My company. My rules. My name, the one they always mocked, signed boldly at the end. My brother Lucas used to drag me around at parties, smirking as he introduced me. This is my little brother Daniel. He's shy, harmless. That's how they all saw me. Harmless. Invisible. Lucas was the golden child, the athlete, the charmer, the one Dad always bragged about. I was the one in the basement, tinkering with circuits, buried in notebooks patched together with duct tape. When I told them I wanted to build software, Dad sneered. Software. Be useful, Daniel. Be realistic. I was 17 when I first overheard Mom whisper to Lucas. Don't worry. He'll never outshine you. He's background. That word sliced deeper than any insult. Background. But I kept building. In silence. When I brought home my first prototype, a rough version of the data engine that would later rewrite industries, Dad barely looked up from his paper. Lucas scoffed, asking if it could get him more fans. Mom told me to stop wasting electricity in the garage. So I dropped out of college in my second year. Didn't tell a soul. Lived off ramen, worked 20-hour days. Pitched to anyone who'd listen. Most laughed. A few didn't. And the fifth investor. He said yes. I didn't celebrate. Built. 3 years later, I had a team of 30 and contracts bigger than anything Lucas would ever see. Still I told no one. Why would I? They'd never asked. To them, I was probably still figuring life out. Then came Lucas's wedding. The grand event. Limos, fireworks, a string quartet, 3 separate cakes. Dad strutted down the aisle with him like he was leading royalty. Mom leaned over to me at the table and whispered, "Just try to be supportive tonight, Daniel. You could learn from him." Smiled. Nodded. Sipped water. They still thought I was some low-level IT guy. Lucas's gift table overflowed with designer bags, watches, checks. I left my plain white envelope for last. No bow, no decoration. Just paper. When Lucas finally opened it 2 hours later, I saw him freeze. His smile cracked. He reread the words twice, then hunted me down on the balcony. His grin was plastic. His voice shook. This is a joke, right? I sipped champagne. No. He swallowed hard. You. A company worth that much. I pulled out my phone, opened the press release. Forbes. My valuation in bold. Name. My photo. Lucas's face went pale under the lights. Why didn't you tell us? He stammered. I looked him in the eye. You weren't listening. By the end of the night, the whispers had spread. Dad pulled me aside, tried to squeeze my shoulder. Knew you had it in you, son. Mom faked a smile, saying, "You should have told us earlier, we could have supported you." Supported me. Where was that support when I was 19, starving, coding in the dark? I said nothing. Just nodded. 2 weeks later, Lucas called, voice breaking. His honeymoon had collapsed. Debts had surfaced. He asked if maybe I could help. I let silence hang, then whispered, "I thought I was just background." Blick. I never built my empire for revenge. That's the irony. I built it because it was the only way to prove to myself that I wasn't the invisible one. But when the moment came to flip the script, I didn't gloat. Didn't scream. I simply handed over a card. Now my parents send polite emails, careful texts. Let us know if you're free to talk sometime. I'm always busy. They quote me to their friends, watch me in interviews, but I don't call. Some bridges don't burn, they fade into nothing. The day of that wedding they saw me clearly for the first time. But only for a moment. Now I'm back in the shadows. Silent. Unseen. Only this time it's my choice. And this time I own everything.